The Quran is called Al-Furqan, that which distinguishes between right and wrong, between truth and falsehood. If you had this book, you wouldn't be involved in same-sex marriage. If you had this book, you would know what is morally acceptable to God and what God rejects, and you would know the gray area which the righteous should not wander into. If you had this book, for this book is Al-Furqan. If you had this book, it would be Al-Dhikr, the reminder, or a source of eminence and glory to mankind. See, if you had the book and understood it more, we would be raised from ignominy to eminence with just fair understanding. This book is called Al-Mawiza, the admonition, because this book admonishes us on the things that are right and the things that are proper and the things that represent good manners, courtesy. This book is called Al-Hukm, the judgment, because in this book God delivers his decision against this and that and for this and that. So when you know what is written in this book, and better yet have an understanding, you are armed with good judgment, ijtihad. It is al-hikmat, the wisdom. You can't be a fool and read this book and have even a fair understanding of it. Nobody will be able to make you a fool again with this book in your hands. Could it be that the enemy knows the value of this book, and that's why it's hidden from the eyes and ears of the common people of America?
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. Peace be upon you all. Thank you all for the patience and coming to witness this program. I seek refuge with Allah against the accursed devil. وَمَنْ أَحْسَنَ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. And who is better in speech than one who invites to Allah and acts righteous and says, indeed I am of the Muslims. هذه سبيلي أدعو إلى الله على بصيرة أنا ومن اتبعني وسبحان الله وما أنا من المشركين. This is my way, I invite to Allah by perception high, and whoever follows me, and glory be to Allah, for I am not among the idolaters, that is the mushriks. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu ittaqullaha wa kunu ma'as sadiqin. O you who believe, beware of God and be with those who are truthful, that is, who are honest. Thank you all for coming. Already my time has been exhausted. I was supposed to start earlier, but due to the network issues, and you can see what actually happened due to that. So today I'm decipher. By the way, Ramadan Mubarak. Let's have a blessed Ramadan, inshallah. Yeah, I'm trying my best. The network wouldn't be the best as at yet. You know, I don't know why. It's quite unfortunate. You know, I've done my best to get it fixed, but it's just quite unfortunate. why the video kept lagging and all this, you know. So sometimes it just have to be like that. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, okay, so let's move on. Let me read some of the comments. Yeah, salam Abdul Samad Adam, salam the boss Amadou, Masbah Islam, yeah, salam, peace be upon you. KG Dada, salam, Taulant Zilima, yes, salam, brother. Abdul Kudu said the video is lagging, yes, sound all good. Zinbo Aun, yes, salam. I love all these intros. Yeah, salam, Sister Manaz Khan, Abdul Jalil, Sheikh Rahman Tijani. Yes, I see you all. Thank you all for coming. Yeah. Yes, Taulan Zilma, yes. It will take some time. Yes. Nash Bayan, I love you too, bro. Thank you for the support. Enemy of progress. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. Enemy of progress, you go and bend the sea. Oh my God, somebody is saying the network will be stable, inshallah. You see the enemy of progress. I've been exposing your scholars all this while. All you can do is pray for my network to go bad. Subhanallah, hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. Mushrikenga. The mushriks are bleeding. Okay. Just a minute. Aha. Yes. So yeah. So now we can continue, right? So you can give me the signal if it is okay. And the video is lagging. Don't worry about it. The audio is more important. If you can hear me clearly, then that is good, right? So let me move on. So let's ignore the hadithiyus, the mushriks who are associating man-made books with the books of God. Forget them. They are mushriks. Let them die in their rage. Let them keep bleeding. Yeah, salam, Sister Aisha Busa. You're welcome. Ratia, yes, mashallah. So allow them to keep bleeding. But they keep hiding to watch me. I just said my phone number is there. They should just contact me. I bring them on, and they should come and speak English. And most of the Hausa speaking scholars in English, they can't speak proper English, so they are scared to even come out to speak English because they will be embarrassed. So, and secondly, my platform is available. This is where I sit down to let people. So if you are up to the task, contact me and come, right? And come. I'll bring you on here. I don't know why they are scared to come on my platform. They'll tell me, hey, we need you here. We need you. Look, I'm here. Let's embarrass you. Now, so we go ahead today. We are going to decipher chapter 16, verse 44. Many a times the mushriks, that is the hadithiyuns, you hear them quoting a verse out of this verse, chapter 16, verse 44, right? They leave the verses out of context. They don't deal with the siyak. That is the weakness of the mushriks, the hadithiyuns, right? The sectarians. They always leave verses out of context. Then they will use the jumbles and the garbage books they have to tell you that this is the tafsir of the Quran. That is another foolishness. Because God says, وَلَا يَأْتُونَكَ بِمَثَلٍ إِلَّا جِئْنَاكَ بِالْحَقِّ وَأَحْسَنَ تَفْسِيرًا. God has brought you the best of tafsir, which is the Quran itself. Quran chapter 25, verse 33. You'll be a fool to think there's another book written by somebody who is not even chosen by God to give you tafsir, to write for you saying tafsir of the Quran. That's foolishness. So they will quote chapter 16, verse 44. وَأَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكَ الذِّكْرَ لِتُبَيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ مَا نُزِّلَ إِلَيْهِمْ وَلَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. Right? So let me see if I can share the screen, right? So that you see the verse. Let me see if I can share the screen. So that is the verse, chapter 16, verse 44. So many a times you hear the mushriks, the hadithiyuns, they quote this verse. Then they will say, وَأَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكَ الذِّكْرَ لِتُبَيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ مَا نُزِّلَ إِلَيْهِمْ وَلَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. This is how they quote the verse. You see. Yeah, thank you very much, Abdul Quddus. I appreciate that. So this is the verse on the screen. I hope you can see it clearly, right? That is the verse. They will quote the verse, وَأَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكَ الذِّكْرَ لِتُبَيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ مَا نُزِّلَ إِلَيْهِمْ وَلَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. And then they will twist the verse out of context and lie to you. So you hear many of the mushriks, they will tell you, it means وَأَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكَ الْقُرْآنِ. It doesn't say Quran here. You'll be a fool to put the word Quran there when God says az-zikra. You are not smarter than God. Quran chapter 10, verse 82, God says, وَيُحِقُّ اللَّهُ الْحَقَّ بِكَلِمَاتِهِ وَلَوْ كَرِهَ الْمُجْرِمُونَ. And God will enforce the truth with his words, even if the criminals dislike it. Right? So we are here to see the enforcement of the words of God, the way God enforces his own, the truth with his own words. That is what you see, right? Yeah. Yeah, Richie Kwame Tando. Yeah, good day. Salam, Sadiq Ibrahim, Tujis Nagan Salam. I see you, Wise G. You're welcome. Let me see. Sister Aisha said something. Let me put it on the screen. She said, "Thank you for your honest answer to Allah's question. These are the ayat of the recite to you in truth." Yes, Aisha, don't mind him. He's a mushrik. He's a mushrik. He's a yun. They can live without the hadith garbage books. So they always associate those garbages with the words of God. So he has actually confirmed his status to being a mushrik. So he cannot live without the garbage Sahih Bukhari books attached to the books of God. So that's the foolishness of some mushriks. Yeah, salam Mawiya, salam Abu Bakr Muhammad. So let's move on. Let me not stall on this hadith use. So they will quote Quran chapter 16, verse 44 out of context. They will never join it together because remember, it is combined with verse 43. So they will only quote verse 44 and they will say, وَأَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكَ الذِّكْرَ لِتُبَيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ مَا نُرِيهِمْ وَلَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. Right? So I'm going to break it down. I'm going to decipher the verse for you to understand what God actually meant by that. Right? It has nothing to do with what the mushriks are telling you. So usually the verse has to be connected with verse 43. So verse 40 above, you read into context to verse 44. Then you get to understand what God is saying in the first place. Then after that, we go and decipher what is az-zikra. Then we go and decipher what God meant by وَأَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكَ الذِّكْرَ لِتُبَيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ مَا نُزِّلَ إِلَيْهِمْ. Meaning God has sent something in the past. In Arabic, fil madi. Madi means past tense, right? Manuzila ilayhim. It didn't say manuzila ilaykum or ilayka. So it wasn't the Quran God was referring to, right? That is the case. I'm going to break it down you get to understand what God meant. So when we take chapter 16, verse 43, chapter 16, verse 43, verse 44, right? And I'll share the screen again. Then we get what the verse says. Does it have to do with what the mushriks are telling us, or are they just ignorant on what the Quran says? And that is what I'm exactly going to prove to you here, right? Okay, let me try to share the screen here. Yes, so I'll share the screen and let's see what the verse says. Yes. So Quran chapter 16, verse 43 to verse 44. The verse starts by saying, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا مِنْ قَبْلِكَ إِلَّا رِجَالًا نُوحِي إِلَيْهِمْ. Then he says, فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Then it continues by saying, بِالْبَيِّنَاتِ وَالزُّبُرِ. Then he says, وَأَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكَ الذِّكْرَ لِتُبَيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ مَا نُزِّلَ إِلَيْهِمْ وَلَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. Now, this is the entire the verse on it in its context. This is how to understand the verse, right? The mushriks will never quote this verse in its entirety to tell you exactly what God meant by it. So I'm going to help you to decipher the mistranslations whereby the mushriks, the hadithiyuns, have been doing all this while to lie to you that the Quran was revealed to the prophet in order to clarify for you. It's a lie. There is no single verse in the Quran which says the prophet should clarify the Quran. No scholar on earth can bring such a verse where it says the prophet should clarify the Quran. After God telling him in Quran chapter 75, verse 16 to 19, لا تحرك به لسانك لتعجل به إن علينا جماعه وقرآنه فإذا قرأناه فاتبع قرآنه ثم إن علينا بيانه. So God didn't say thumma inna alayka bayanahu. He says thumma inna alayna bayanahu. So the bayan of the Quran is not based on the prophet. Nowhere did God ask the prophet to clarify the Quran. You be a fool to think it is the prophet clarifying the words of God. Quran chapter 24 verse 18, it is God clarifying his own verses. Quran chapter 6 verse 105, وَكَذَلِكَ نُصَرِّفُ الْآيَاتِ وَلِيَقُولُوا دَرَسْتَ وَلِنُبَيِّنَهُ لِقَوْمِ يَعْلَمُونَ. It is God who is going to clarify the verses of the Quran to the people. Right? Quran chapter 16 verse 89, وَنَزَّلْنَا عَلَيْكَ الْكِتَابَ تِبِيَّانًا لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ وَهُدًى وَرَحْمَةً وَبُشْرَى لِلْمُسْلِمِينَ. So the book itself is a clarification for all things. So how can you foolishly now think it is the prophet going to clarify the book? After God saying in Quran chapter 2 verse 159, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَكْتُمُونَ مَا أَنزَلْنَا مِنَ الْبَيِّنَاتِ وَالْهُدَى مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا بَيَّنَّاهُ لِلنَّاسِ فِي الْكِتَابِ أُولَٰئِكَ يَلْعَنُهُمُ اللَّهُ وَيَلْعَنُهُمُ اللَّاعِنُونَ. Quran chapter 2 verse 159. God says, indeed, those who hide, those who conceal what we have revealed of the guidance and the proofs, after that which we have made it clear to the people in the book. God has already made it clear to the people. Right? Because it's clear, that is why some scholars will hide it so that you will not know what God has explained. Then they will foolishly tell you, oh, it is the prophet explaining. Then when you ask them, where did the prophet explain this? Then they will say, according to Ibn Kathir, according to Ibn Abbas, according to Ibn Taymiyyah. Are you nuts? According to which foolishness are you telling me? According to who and who? You said the prophet explains the Quran, right? So bring to us the full hadith from Fatiha to An-Nas, where the prophet has explained everything. You don't have it. So who are you fooling? Yourselves? Now, me, you cannot fool me. Or neither can you fool the intelligent people who knows the book of God is enough. So to understand the verse, chapter 16, verse 43 to 44, I'm going to break it down. Then we get a clear concept or notion of what God has intended to be understood thereof, right? Brazil Nagan Kasalam. Zulan more Yeah, I see you. Welcome, bro. So Quran, chapter 16, verse 43 to verse 44, where God told the prophet, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا مِن رَسُولٍ إِلَّا وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا مِن قَبْلِكَ إِلَّا رِجَالًا نُوحِي إِلَيْهِمْ فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. We did not send before you, that is Muhammad. Now, when the issue of arsala comes in, arsalna, it is talking about a messenger. Now, when somebody is sent, that person becomes a messenger. So God says, we did not send before you, that is Muhammad. Remember, Quran chapter 33, verse 40 says, Ma kana Muhammadun aba ahadim min rijalikum walakin Rasulallahi wa khataman nabiyyin. Quran chapter 33, verse 40. So Muhammad was the messenger of God and the seal of the prophets. So he had two assignments. So God says, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا مِن قَبْلِكَ. We did not send before you except men, not women. God only sent men in the past before Muhammad, men, except men to whom we have inspired, right? God gave them inspiration. So now God is telling us, we the believers, now God is saying, first alu al zikr. The word first alu is in the plural form. So first alu is talking to the plural form of people. So first alu al zikr, as the people of the remembrance, of the azikr. It is not saying as the people of knowledge. You'll be a fool to put the word knowledge there. If it is knowledge, you say first alu al ilm, or it will say what? Ulama. It's not asking to go and ask any ulama. And neither hadith scholars ulama. Those are liars and comedians. Salam. Yeah, Mazu. Salam alaikum, bro. So you'll be very naive to think when God says first alu al zikr. In kuntum la ta'lamun, it's talking to al ilm. You let the scholars lie to you as the people of knowledge. Are you nuts? Since when did the followers of garbage hadith become people of knowledge? So first alu al zikr. In kuntum la ta'lamun. These al zikr are the people who have been given books in the past, scriptures by God in the past, by people of the Psalms, Torah, the Zabur, the Injil. You understand? They are al zikr because every book God sends down contains a zikr inside. And I'll help you to understand that, right? So as the people of the remembrance, if you do not know, you the believers of today, if you don't know, or the time of Muhammad, if you don't know, ask those who received the messengers in the past before Muhammad. Do you understand the point? So now yours is going to ask. Then God went ahead and said, Bilbayinat was Zubur, that is with evidences, clear evidences, and the what? And Zubur, that is scriptures, right? Because the evidences they have been given contain scriptures. So they have been given Torah, they've been given Injil, they've been given Zabur, and so on and so forth, right? Then now God went further to say, Wa anzalna ilayka zikra. You understand? He didn't say, Wa anzalna ilayka al-Quran. Listen carefully. He didn't say, Wa anzalna ilayka al-Quran. There's a difference. He says, Wa anzalna ilayka zikra. He has already said, Fas'alu al zikr. Do you see? So now God is saying, now we have revealed to you the zikr. Where can we find a zikr? We can find it in Quran chapter 38, verse 1. But before we go there, let's pause. So underline the word az-zikra here. Underline it. It's not talking about the Quran. You'll be a fool to think az-zikra means Quran. So circulate it. Pause it. لِتُبَيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ مَا نُزِّلَ إِلَيْهِمْ. In order what? To bring out something. To bring out. To reveal something. To manifest something. Litubayina, to make it clear, because the opposite of bayan is to what? Katama, to hide. So this tubayina is to reveal something, to bring something out, to declare it. Don't hide it, don't conceal it. So wa anzalna ilayka zikra litubayyina linnas. Now you bring it out to the people. You make it become clear out. Don't hide it, right? Ma nuzila ilayhim. What was revealed to them. It is not saying what was revealed to you, Muhammad. No. It is not saying you should make clear what was revealed to you. You bring the azikra because the previous people also received azikra from God already. So now what you need to do is you declare to the people what was revealed to them, because Quran is a confirmation of what was before it. Do you understand? Quran chapter 10 verse 37. وما كان هذا القرآن أن يفترى من دون الله ولكن تصديق الذي بين يديه وتفصيل الكتاب لا ريب فيه من رب العالمين. Quran chapter 10 verse 37. So Quran is to serve as a confirmation of what was before it. So if there was any azikra in the past, the Quran comes to confirm azikra again in the Quran. Just like it confirms the Torah, it confirms the Injil. Do you see? So God now says, Ma nuzila ilayhim. This nuzila, it is a past tense. In Arabic, we say madi. That is fil madi. It's a past tense. It's a verb, but in the past tense. So ma nuzila. Then he says ilayhim. He didn't say ilaykum. Had he said ilaykum, then he's talking to the believers, meaning presently what he has revealed to you. So then he says, wala allahum. You see? Still talking to the them. That's the al zikr. So wala allahum yatafakkarun, so that they may give thought, they may reflect. So then they will say, oh yeah, okay, the zikra we have, there's another zikra which has been sent down confirming what we have. Do you see what I'm saying? And I'm going to break it down and you understand it perfectly and simply. So if I take you to Quran chapter 38 verse 1, show you where you can find the zikra. There's a difference between a zikra and al-Quran. There's a difference. And I'm going to show you that difference, right? As simple as A, B, C, D, shrieks fail to realize simple mathematics. And I'm going to help you, inshallah. Good. Yeah. And I'm going to share the screen. You get to see the verse by yourself. So that is Quran chapter 38, verse 1. That is Surah Sad, chapter 38, verse 1. And let me share the screen. Yeah. So this is the verse on the screen. God says, Sad. Then he says, Wal Qur'ani Z. You see the Z. Then he says, Az-Zikr. Zikr. But I'm pronouncing the marifa, the adatul tarif, in between the Z and the zikr. So it is a zikr. It is a definite article here. You see? Do you see it? It says, Wal Quran Z zikr. The Quran, by the Quran containing the zikr. So the Quran possesses the zikr. The Quran contains a zikr. The Quran is the one holding the zikr. It's just like my wallet holding my money. My wallet. I'm going to show you something. This is my wallet. This is my wallet. And I have my money, my cards, everything inside here. My card, my bank card, my cards. So let's assume this is my money, right? Let's assume this is my money. So now my wallet is possessing my money. You'll be a fool to say the wallet is your money. The wallet is not your money. The wallet is possessing your money. Your money is different from your wallet. The wallet only possesses. So by the wallet possessing my money. Similarly, put it in the instance of the Quran, chapter 38, verse 1. Swad wal Quran zi zikr. by the Quran containing the remembrance. Do you understand? The Quran possessing the remembrance. Quran containing the remembrance. So anybody who don't understand this simple grammar I'm speaking, go to Quran chapter 85 verse 1. I'm going to show you an example. Quran chapter 85 verse 1. I'm going to show you a practical example so that the scholars who keep telling you the Quran is the zikr and lie to you when God says zikr, it means the Quran. I'm going to show you how much they've been lying to you. A lot. They are liars. Wallahi. So now let me break it down so that you understand. When you go to Quran chapter 85 verse 1, I'm going to show you a practical example. Quran chapter 85 verse 1. So the verse says, وَالسَّمَاءِ ذَاتِ الْبُرُوجِ وَالسَّمَاءِ وَالسَّمَاءِ ذَاتِ الْبُرُوجِ. So God says, by the sky or by the heaven or by the sky possessing, containing the what? The constellation, the zodiac, the buruj. So the sky is possessing. We don't say the sky is the constellation. We don't say the sky is the zodiac. That's a wrong grammar. Rather, the sky possesses, it contains the zodiac. You can find the zodiac in the sky. You can find the constellations in the sky. So you don't say the sky is the constellation. No. Remember, the Quran is unique. It's come from God. Quran chapter 11 verse 1. Alif Lam Ra Kitabun Uhkimat Ayatuhu. It is a book whose verses have been mastered, have been perfected. So when you are dealing with the Quran, remember it deals with the eloquence of the Arabic grammar. So God, that's why God says, Lisanun Arabiyyun Mubin. Wahaza Lisanun Arabiyyun Mubin. Quran chapter 16 verse 103. The Quran is a clear Arabic language. So what sama is that buruj? By the sky containing, possessing the what? Constellations. So how can you say the constellation is the sky? It's wrong to say the constellation is the sky. Neither is it correct for you to say the sky is the constellation. You can't say that because the word zati in the middle has already differentiated the instance for you. Do you see the difference? Good. So now when I take you back to Quran chapter 38 verse 1, it says, Swad wal Quran zi zikr. Thank you, brother. Fiasco peace lemuma. Salam, Naz Khan. Aha, Mawiya. Yes, salam. Sadis Naganka. Salam. Baba salam. Aha. So, chapter 38, verse 1, it says, Swad wal Quran zi zikr. So, it says, Swad wal Quran zi zikr, the Quran containing the remembrance. Quran possessing the remembrance. So what you need to do is you can find the zikr inside the Quran. You will find it. It is there. So this zikr, God revealed it to the messenger. وَأَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكَ الذِّكْرَ لِتُبَيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ, in order to what? Declare it to the people. To make it clear to the people because they have a zikr. So what the prophet has to do is to bring it out. Right? And I'm going to show you how he was supposed to do that. It doesn't mean he should clarify the Quran. I've helped you to decipher, to understand the difference between a zikra and the Al-Quran. They are two different things. They are not the same thing. But yes, one can be found inside the other. I hope you are with me. Okay, good. So now I take you to Quran chapter 54 verse 17. And I'm showing you something again before I go to decipher the issue for you. Quran chapter 54 verse 7. Right? Yeah, thank you, brother Ismail. 54 Let me take you to Quran chapter 54, verse 17. Quran chapter 54, verse 17. Then I will share the screen for you to see what the verse says. Sister Naz Khan is saying disclosure. Yeah, disclosure, yes, to make something, to declare something, to disclose something, bring it out. That is the bayan, to make it evident, right? So chapter 54, verse 17. Let me share 54, verse 17. Let me just share the screen. Surah Al-Qamar. Many a times you hear people quoting this particular verse. And sometimes they mistranslate, so they miss the point as to what the verse says, right? So that is the screen for you. So God says, وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلْذِكْرِ فَهَلْ مِنْ مُدَّكِّرٍ وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلْذِكْرِ فَهَلْ مِنْ مُدَّكِّرٍ. Do you see the verse? Okay, let me maximize it. وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلْذِكْرِ فَهَلْ مِنْ مُدَّكِّرٍ. We have certainly made the Quran easy for the remembrance. We have certainly made the Quran easy, lil-zikr, for the remembrance. The word lil-zikr is a ma'rifah. It is a definite article used with the word harf, that is the preposition in front of it, right? So we have certainly made the Quran easy for the zikr. We have made the Quran easy for the zikr. That is for the remembrance. Then it says, فَهَلْ مِنْ مُدَّكِّرٍ. So is there anyone who wants to be someone who remembers? Is there anyone who will remember? Is there anyone who will actually remember? Because you can get the zikr inside the Quran. Inside the Quran. Yes, it's there. Do you understand the point? So if you take this particular verse, you see the difference between Al-Quran and Al-Zikr. In this verse, chapter 54, verse 17, God mentioned Al-Quran as a definite article, and he mentioned Al-Zikr as a definite article. Do you see? There are two things there. Good. Let's move on. So I'm going to help you to break it down to understand what was the duty given to Muhammad alayhi salam as a messenger to do concerning Quran and the Zikr. Right? So lying to you, twisting the words out of context, putting words which don't belong to the verses, and then changing the narrative to lie to you and tell you otherwise. And I'm going to help you to decipher those kind of notions, right? So Quran chapter 15, verse 16. Quran chapter 5, verse 15 to 16. And I'm going to break it down. Quran chapter 5, verse 15 to verse 16. That is Surah Al-Ma'idah. Quran chapter 5, verse 15 to verse 16. And let me share the screen, then we see what the verse says, right? Share the screen, and I tell you exactly what the verse says. Now, the interesting part about this verse is a reference point addressing the Ahlul Kitab. That is the Ahlul Zikr. That's the people who received the zikr from God before the Quran was revealed, and we can get the zikr also in the Quran. So the people of the previous books, that's the Ahlul Kitab. Now see what God is saying in that verse, right? Quran chapter 5, verse 15 to verse what? 16. So it says, Ya Ahlul Kitab, Qad ja'akum rasuluna yubayyinu lakum كثيرا مما كنتم تخفون من الكتاب ويعفو عن كثير قد جاءكم من الله نورا وكتاب مبين. Then verse 16, Yadi bihi Allahu man ittaba'a ridwanahu subul as-salam wa yukhrijuhum min az-zulumati ila an-nur bi'iznihi wa yadihim ila siratil mustaqim. Do you see the verse? Quran chapter 15, Quran chapter 5, verse 15 to verse 16. I hope you're with me. You've seen the verse. Quran chapter 5, verse 15 to verse 16. So God says, "O people of the book, Ya Ahlul Kitab, our messenger has suddenly come to you, making evident, declaring to you, disclosing to you, letting it become clear to you, most of what, or much of what you have concealed of the book, because they have been given Al-Kitab, and they are hiding a lot of things." Then he says, while overlooking much, because they are overlooking much of what the book says. The book they have, they are overlooking a lot of things away from it. So this is why the Quran is there to confirm a lot of things that they have. Right? Then God says, "Qad ja'akum min Allahi nurun wa kitabun mubin." And there has suddenly come to you from God, what? A light. Remember, Quran chapter 42, verse 52. The book is to serve as a light. And it is a what? A clear book. Wa kitabun mubin. So this is still talking about the same book. It's not talking about two different things. God says, "Qad ja'akum min Allahi nurun." This nur is still the book. Wa kitabun mubin is still the book. It's not talking about two things. The mushriks will go and put the nurun and they say that is Prophet Muhammad. They say the Prophet Muhammad is the light. Let them bring one verse where God called the prophet a light, that he is a light, is a nur, the word nur. Let them bring one verse where God said that. Hypocrites. What kitab mubin. So to understand that God is talking about a singular, particular thing, which is the book, verse 16 says, "Yadi bihi." He didn't say bihima. He says bihi. This bihi is a masculine pronoun, singular form, representing the Al-Kitab, the book, or the Quran. Right? So he says, Yadi bihi, meaning one thing. You see the pronoun there. The verse 16, bihi, then he says what? Lahu manittaba'a ridwanahu. So God used this same book, the clear book, to guide whoever follows his approval to the ways of what? Peace. Subul salam. Right? Then he will bring them out of the darknesses into the what? The an-nur, the light, by his permission. And then do what? وَيَادِهِمْ إِلَى صِرَاطٍ مُسْتَقِيمٍ, and guide them to the straight path. So this is what God will do using the book that he has given to the messenger to bring. So inside the book, we now have the azikra, where the messenger will use the azikra to disclose, to make something evident, to declare to the people of the book most of what they are hiding. Like I told you, the opposite of bayan, the word bayina, is to what? Katama, to hide. So when you are hiding something, the opposite of it's to make it evident, to disclose it, to bring it out. That is what the messenger was supposed to do. So he went to the people of the book in order to expose, to bring out a lot of things they've been hiding in their books, whilst overlooking much of it. So now he's making it evident to disclose it to them. So these are the people of Az-Zikr. These are the people God told the messenger in Quran chapter 16 verse 44, وَأَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكَ الذِّكْرَ لِتُبَيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ مَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْهِمْ وَلَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. These are the people God is talking about. He is not coming to tell the Muhammad that explain the Quran to the people. What? Are you nuts? After God telling you several times he has explained his own book, out of your foolishness, you are now telling us the prophet should explain the book again. Why should something which has been explained already be explained again? It's just like I've cooked rice already. I've cooked. Then you come back again, you tell me cook rice again. Cook rice for what? There's rice there. I've already cooked rice. Why should I cook rice again? Do you see the point? So now, if you go to Quran chapter 3 verse 187, somebody Are you trying to say the word bayin doesn't mean to clarify, to explain in some instances? Remember, in Arabic, one word can have multiple meanings. So you have to check the context they appear, whereby you can know which of the meanings suit in that instance. So when you go to Quran chapter 3, verse 187, I'm going to show you something. If you go to Quran chapter 3, verse 187, among the children of Israel, when God took covenant with the children of Israel, he said he took a covenant with them, and there's something he told them to do. He told them, وَإِذْ أَخَذَ اللَّهُ مِيثَاقَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ. Then he says what? لَتُبَيِّنُنَّهُ لِلنَّاسِ وَلَا تَكْتُمُونَهُ. You see, وَنَبَذُوهُ وَرَاءَ ظُهُورِهِمْ وَاشْتَرَوْا بِهِ ثَمَنًا قَلِيلًا فَبِئْسَ مَا يَشْتَرُونَ. Chapter 3, verse 187. For anybody who has the Quran next to you, you open the verse and check clearly for yourself why I said the opposite of bayyin is what? Katama, to conceal. That is exactly what God told the children of Israel, the ones he gave the Al-Kitab. He made a covenant with them. And inside the covenant, oh, sorry, share the screen so that people will see the verse. I shared the screen earlier. Let me share the screen concerning the verse I just recited, right? Quran chapter 3, verse 187. The verse is on the screen. Quran chapter 3, verse 187. I put the verse on the screen, right? That's the verse. So what the missing link people are missing here is they think whenever they see the word bayin or to bayina, it means to explain. No. 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 Right? You should know how context work and how verses work. But first of all, you have to understand what the subject is talking about, because you can never base something into context if you don't know the subject, right? So try to understand the subject first. So when you put it into context, then you can get the content. So deal with these three rules when you're dealing with the Quran, especially. You see, So Quran chapter 3, verse 187. وَإِذْ أَخَذَ اللَّهُ مِيثَاقَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ. When God took a covenant, from what? Those he has given the book. Then he told them to make it evident, to disclose it, to make it clear, to bring it out, to declare it to the people. You see, He says, لَتُبَيِّنُنَّهُ. You see, to make it clear to the people. Then God says, وَلَا تَكْتُمُونَهُ. So do not hide it. So what they have to do is to make it clear, make it known, make it evident, disclose it to the people. And they should not conceal it. You see the opposite. They shouldn't conceal it. So they have to declare it, to make it known. That is what Muhammad as a messenger was asked to do with the Zikr. Not the Quran. The Quran is already explicit on its own. It's clear. God has already explained it. You see, so Quran chapter 3, verse 187, for anybody who doesn't know, write it down and check it for yourself. This is what God told the children of Israel when he gave them the Al-Kitab. That's what he asked them to do. Exactly, yes, Sister Aisha Musa, yes, exactly on point what you said. So we see Quran chapter 3, verse 187. Apart from that, if I take you to Quran chapter 2, verse 159 to 160, you are going to see what I've been telling you about, so that you understand, you encompass easily what I actually meant. I forgot to share this on my other page. Just a minute, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry. Yeah. So I take you to Quran chapter 2, verse 159 to 160. And I'm going to show you something concerning making something known, making it evident, disclosing it, declaring it, right? Salam, Musa Jamila. Yeah, you're welcome. Yes. Let me share the screen. And let's see the verse, what God in that verse. Chapter 2, verse 159. God says, Innal lazina yakutumuna ma anzalna min al-bayyinati wal huda min ba'di ma bayyanahu lin-nas fil kitab. Ulaika yal'anumullah wa yal'anumul la'inun. Illa allazina tabu wa aslahu wa bayyanu fa ulaika atubu alayhim. Then he says, Wa ana tawwabun rahim. So God says, indeed, those who conceal. The word yakutumuna comes from the root word is katama, meaning to conceal. And that is the opposite of what? Bayyin, to make something clear, to declare something, to disclose, to make it known, to make it evident, right? So God says, indeed, those who conceal what we have revealed of the what? Evidences, that's the proofs, bayyinat. Then it says, wal huda, and the guidance. We all know Quran chapter 45, verse 11, haza huda. God says this is guidance. That is the Quran. The Quran is the guidance. Quran chapter 2, verse 185. Sharu Ramadan allazi unzila fihi al-Quran hudan linnas. Right? Quran is the guidance for mankind. So God says, indeed, those who conceal what we have revealed of the proofs, because the Quran contains the bayinat, the evidences. Right? Wal huda, and the guidance. God has made it clear. So God says, min ba'di ma bayyanahu linnas fil kitab. After what we have made it clear, we have declared it, we have made it known, we have made it evident, we have disclosed it to the people in the book. God has made it clear. Talks about everything. Remember Quran chapter 16 verse 89, وَنَزَّلْنَا عَلَيْكَ الْكِتَابَ تِبْيَانًا لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ. The book is to serve as a clarification for all things. Right? So God says, Ulaika yal'anumullah, and those are the ones whom God has cursed, and they are cursed by the curses. Then verse 160 says, Illa allazina tabu wa aslahu, except those who what? Who repent and then reform. Meaning now they will tell the truth. They are not going to conceal what God has made evident in the book. They are not going to conceal the evidences and the proofs. They are not going to conceal the guidance God has given us in the Quran. They have repented now and they're not reformed. Then God says, Wabayanu, and now they will make it evident. They will declare it. They will make it known. Just like God told the children of Israel in Quran chapter 3, verse 187. The covenant is to make it known. Don't conceal it. Then God says, For ulaika atubu alayhim. Those are the ones whom God will forgive. If only they will do that way. They will not conceal it and make it known. God will forgive them. Then God says, Wa ana tawwabu rahim, and I'm the pardoning, the merciful. So God is the pardoner and the merciful one. So do you see the verse? As simple as it is. You understand? So when the mushriks, they quote chapter 16, verse 4, then he says, وَأَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكَ الذِّكْرَ لِتُبَيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ مَا نُزِّلَ إِلَيْهِمْ وَلَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. Then the foolish ones will tell you, oh, it means Quran. You see here, the prophet said, God told the prophet to explain the Quran. Are you nuts? Since when did Az-Zikra become Al-Quran? Do you see? For those who don't know, Az-Zikra can serve as the Al-Kitab. When we say Al-Zikr, it is same as Al-Kitab. For people who don't know, if you go to Quran chapter 41, Surah Al-Fussilat, you read verse 41 to verse 42, you will see the Kitab al-Aziz God is talking about. The Kitab can serve as the Zikr, right? But Al-Kitab is where we have the Quran written inside. Quran chapter 41 verse 3. It says, Kitabun fussilat ayatuhu Qur'anan Arabiyan liqawmi ya'lamun. So it is a book. A book comes from the word Kitab comes from the word kataba. Kataba means it's a verb, to write. So you get something written down. So when you write down, you write the verses of the Quran in that book. So this is why Quran chapter 56, verse 77 downwards is Innahu la Quranul Karim. Then it says Fi kitabin maknun. So the reading itself is written in the book, right? So the book is to serve as, it can serve as a remembrance, a zikra, but the Quran is a different thing which actually contains the remembrance inside. I hope that point is clear now. Good. So that is how to decipher chapter 16, verse 44. Now, away with that. Let's go to Quran chapter 4, verse 1. Many a time, the sectarians who quote this verse, they are so-called ignorant scholars, the Hadithiyun scholars, the mushriks. They will quote chapter 4, verse 115 out of context in order to suit their agenda and their needs. But their ignorance is not making them see the evidence. So Quran chapter 4, verse 115. God says, وَمَنْ يُشَاكِكِ الرَّسُولَ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا تَبَيَّنَ لَهُ الْهُدَى. You see, لَهُ الْهُدَى وَيَتَّبِعِ غَيْرَ سَبِيلِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ نُوَلِّهِ مَا تَوَلَّى. Then he says, وَنُسْلِهِ جَهَنَّمْ وَسَاءَتْ مَصِيرًا. Now this verse, sometimes you hear the mushriks quoting this verse. The Hadithiyuns, they quote this verse a lot. Sometimes, I don't know, some of you might have known this, right? They will quote this. Usually, they quote this verse also out of context to suit their needs, and tell you, oh, if you don't come and follow the hadith, you are astray. You go to hellfire. You are a kafir. Really, is that what God says? Is that? Yeah, Gabon Boya, you're welcome. So Quran chapter 4, verse 115. I'm going to decipher this verse before I open the phone lines so that people can call and ask questions, right? Good. And you are welcome with your questions concerning Ramadan. You can ask me questions regarding, Siam, how many days, breakfast. You're welcome. Writing, you're welcome. Badiu, Naka, salam. Okay. So Quran chapter 4, verse 115. I'm going to decipher this verse to let you understand how the sectarian Hadithiyuns have been, manipulating you with such a verse and lying to you. So let me share the screen and let's see what the verse says, right? In between, sometimes in that time. So I might use my energy. So let me preserve my energy. Yeah. So Quran chapter 4, verse 115. That's the screen there. Many a times you hear them quote this verse. وَمَنْ يُشَاكِكِ الرَّسُولَ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا تَبَيَّنَ لَهُ الْهُدَى. You see, وَيَتَّبِعْ غَيْرَ سَبِيلِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. And I'm going to help you to understand this verse. It's simple as A, B, C, D, but the mushriks fail to realize this. It's simple as A, B, C, D, but mushriks fail to realize this. And I'm here to help people to understand this verse, inshallah, before I open the phone lines, right? The verse says, we all know the duty of a messenger. Quran chapter 5, verse 67. Quran chapter 5, verse 67, where God told the messenger, Ya ayyuha rasul, balligh ma unzila ilayka min rabbik, wa illam taf'alu, fama ballagta risalatahu, wallahu yasimuka minan nas. Right? Quran chapter 5, verse 67. So the messenger is to deliver the messages of God, which can be found where? In the Quran. That is the message of God. Risalatillah, right? So God says, and whoever opposes the messenger, after what has been made evident, after what has been declared, after what has been made known to him, after what has been disclosed to him of the what? The guidance. That is, after the guidance has been what? Made evident to him, made clear to him, made known to him. Just like we see in Quran chapter 2, verse 159. When God says, Innal lazina yaktumuna ma anzalna min al-bayyinati wal huda min ba'di ma bayyanahu linnas fil kitab. So now, God says, whoever opposes the messenger, we all know the duty of a messenger, to deliver the clear message. وَمَا عَلَى رَسُولِ إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ الْمُبِينُ. Quran chapter 64 verse 12. Right? The duty of the messenger is to deliver the clear notification, right? Which has been delivered, which is the Quran. So God says, whoever opposes the messenger, after the guidance have been made known to him. Where is the guidance? Al-Quran. Sharu Ramadan allazi unzila fihi al-Quran hudan linnas. Quran chapter 2 verse 185. Where is the guidance? Quran chapter 61 verse 9. Huwa allazi arsala rasulahu bil huda wa dinil haqq. Quran chapter 61 verse 9. He's the one who has sent his messenger with the what? With the guidance and the religion of what? Truth. Surah what? Saf. So then God says in Quran chapter 4 verse 115, after the guidance have been made known to him, وَيَتَّبِي غَيْرَ سَبِيلِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ, and follow other than the way of the believers. Now, which is the way of the believers? We all know it is the Quran. So let me make it easy for you to understand that the way of the believers is the Quran and nothing else. I'm going to make it easy. If you want to know who are the true believers God is talking about, Quran chapter 8 verse 2 to verse 4. I'm going to define to you who are the true believers according to the Quran. Right? So Quran chapter 8 verse 2 to verse 4. And remember, Quran chapter 2 verse 8. Among the people, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ يَقُولُ آمَنَّا بِاللَّهِ وَبِالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ وَمَا هُمْ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ. Right? Among the people are those who say we believe in God and the last day, but God says they are not believers. So in order for us to know the way of the believers and to know who are the true believers, I'm taking you to Quran chapter 8 verse 2 to verse 4. And I help you understand who are the true believers God is talking about. Yeah, salam, Abdul Fattah Sisi. You're welcome. Yeah, salam, Bashir Yusuf. You're welcome. Salam, Muhammad Emmanuel Lucien. You're welcome. Yeah. Okay. I share the screen. This is the verse. Quran chapter 8, verse 2 to verse 4. So God says, إنما المؤمنون الذين إذا ذكر الله وجلت قلوبهم وإذا تليت عليهم زادتهم إيمانا وإذا تليت عليهم آياته زادتهم إيمانا وعلى ربهم يتوكلون الذين يقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون أولئك هم المؤمنون الحق. Then he says لهم درجات عند ربهم ومغفرة ورزق كريم. You see, so God says the believers are only those whom, when reminded, when the verses, when God is mentioned, their hearts are fearful. Wajilat kulubuhum. Fearful in the sense of being humble, right? Wa iza tuliyat alayhim ayatuhu, and when his verses are recited to them, zadatuhum imanan, it increases them in faith. Wa ala rabbihim yatawakkalun, and they rely upon their Lord. Verse 3, allazina yununa salata, they are the ones who establish the salat. Wa mimma razaqnahum yunfikun, and from what we have provided them, they disperse, meaning they expend, they help others with it. Then God says, ulaika humul mu'minun al-haq, those are the true believers. Do you see? Then God says, lahum datun inda rabbihim, and they will have degrees at their Lord, with their Lord. Wa maghfiratun wa rizqun kareem, and they will have forgiveness and honorable sustenance. So you see the way of the believers. The way of the believers is based on the verses of God, which increase their faith. It didn't say the verses of Sahih Bukhari or some garbage books to increase their faith. No, we don't need that garbage. The verses of God is enough to make you a true believer. You can see the definition of a true believer doesn't say you should follow hadith books. The definition of a true believer doesn't say you should go and follow any garbages outside the Quran, but rather the verses of God, which will increase your faith, and then you have to rely on God. Just establish your salat and give your zakat and give the charity. you are part of the true believers. You don't need to believe in Sahih Bukhari to be a true believer. Quran chapter 45 verse 6. God says, Tilka ayatullahi natluha alayka bilhaq. Fabi ayyi hadisi ba'da Allahi wa ayati yuminun. And in which hadith after God and his verses will they believe? So if you believe in Sahih Bukhari, you are a mushrik and you are a hypocrite at the same time. You believe in Sahih Muslim, you are a mushrik and you are a hypocrite. Because in which hadith after God and his verses will they believe? So you tell me you believe in Sahih Bukhari, right? So now we have seen the definition of a true believer, right? So when I take you back to Quran chapter 4 verse 115, that is, it has nothing to do with the context of what the mushriks or the hadithiyun keep telling you, that you have to follow the sunnah. Where does it say sunnah in that verse? وَمَنْ يُشَاكِكُ الرَّسُولَ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا تَبَيَّنَ لَهُ الْهُدَى. Al-Huda is the Quran. Quran chapter 45 verse 11. هَذَا هُدًى وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا بِآيَاتِ رَبِّهِمْ لَهُمْ عَذَابٌ مِّن رِجْزٍ أَلِيمٌ. This is guidance. Quran chapter 45 verse 11. This is what God tells you. And those who disbelieve in the verses of God, they will have a rough, painful punishment. That's what God says. So how can you leave the guidance of the Quran and claim that Sahih Bukhari is your guidance? Are you in your right senses? Seriously. Okay. So Quran chapter 4 verse 115, after the guidance have been made evident to him, after the guidance have been made known to him, after the guidance have been declared to him, after the guidance have been disclosed to him, and then follows a way other than the way of the believers. The way of the believers we have seen in Quran chapter 8 verse 2 to verse 4. You see, that's the way of the true believers. Then God says, Nuwallihi, we will turn him to what he has turned, matawallah, to what he has turned. Wanuslihi jahannam, and we will burn him, we will roast him in hell. Wasa'at masira, such an evil destination. That is when he will be burned. So you see, Quran chapter 4 verse 115, right? It is not in reference to you, the mushriks and hadithiyuns, telling us to come and follow Sahih Bukhari or any garbage books you have. So let's see who is the guide of the people, who is supposed to guide you. If you are a believer, who gives you guidance? If you are a believer, who is supposed to guide you? Salam, Liman Imran. If you are a believer, who is supposed to guide you? God, right? Good. So I take you to Quran chapter 22, 54. Before I open the phone lines, let me break down this part. Then I open the phone lines so people can call and ask their question, right? Good. So Quran chapter 22, verse 54. Who is our guide? And who is supposed to guide us if we are believers? Remember, God is our guide. He told the prophet in Quran chapter 25, verse 31. Quran chapter 25, verse 31. That he is sufficient as a guide and helper. God is sufficient as a guide and a helper. So who else do you need? Quran chapter 22, verse 54. Let's share the screen. Then we see what the verse says. Right? Quran chapter 15. Quran chapter 25. Quran chapter 22, verse 54. Yes. I wanted to open another verse, but I just skipped that. So Quran chapter 2 verse 54, the verse is on the screen, where God says, وَلِيَعْلَمَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْعِلْمَ أَنَّهُ الْحَقُّ مِنْ رَبِّكَ فَيُؤْمِنُوا بِهِ. Then he says, فَتُخْبِتَ لَهُ قُلُوبُهُمْ وَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَهَادِي الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا إِلَى صِرَاطٍ مُسْتَقِيمٍ. He says, and that those who have been given the knowledge, when God gives you finally the knowledge of the book, أَنَّهُ الْحَقُّ مِنْ رَبِّكَ, they will know that it is the truth from your Lord, you Muhammad. When God has given people finally the knowledge, they will know that it's the truth from your Lord. And they will believe in it. فَيُؤْمِنُوا بِهِ, they will believe in the Quran. فَتُخْبِتَ لَهُ قُلُوبُهُمْ, and their hearts will humble to it. That is the Quran. Then God now says, وَإِنَّ اللَّهَ lahadi lazina amanu ila siratil mustaqim. And indeed, God is the guide of those who believe to the straight path. Are you listening? So the believers, it is God who will guide them, not anybody else. If you are a believer and you have been given the knowledge of the Quran and you know it is the truth, it is God who will guide you. He is your guide to the straight path, nobody else. You'll be a fool to think the Sahih Bukhari garbages are the one going to guide you to God. Wallahi lazim, you'll be the dumbest fool ever to think those garbage books the scholars give you is the one going to guide you. A book of somebody who never met the Prophet. He wrote a book over 200 years after the Prophet, and you think those books will guide you to God. You are dreaming. My son, Salim, who is turning 3 years, will not even believe in those garbages. Wallahi lazim. So, ladies and gentlemen, I finished deciphering chapter 16, verse 54, and then chapter 4, verse 115. We have brought that to an end, right? So I'm going to put out the phone numbers, my phone number. And for those who don't know my YouTube channel, if you want to subscribe and learn for yourself, you can go. I'm putting up the link. You go and learn for yourself. The videos are there free of charge. You watch it and learn for yourself. All the topics have been tackled. I've talked about Hajj. I've talked about anything you want to know is there concerning Islam. You find it there. The Salat, everything. All I ask for, you claim I'm lying to the people, my phone number is there. Call me. Let's arrange a live dialogue. I will bring you on. Let's get it out. It's simple as it is. You think I'm ignorant? Try me and see. Simple. So my phone number is there. The callers are welcome. You can call. If you call, you have 2 questions to go. And please stay around the topic or ask me questions regarding Ramadan. Right? Yeah. Let's move on. Don't go deep into something I didn't speak about today so that people can benefit from the topic I spoke about today. So that is my YouTube channel. You see it there, right? That is my YouTube channel, Bush2G9. You search it on YouTube channel. You get all the relevant topics you want to study, right? And then that is my phone number down there. You see it? You can call me via WhatsApp. You call and then put it on. You ask your 2 questions and be precise, be specific with your questions, and please don't be beating around the bush to make things Chico says, why or since when you confuse Maghrib with Layl? It is just about time. When you check chapter 103, Surah Al-Asr, it says, Wal Asr, innal insana lafil usr, illa amanu wa amilu salihat, وَتَوَاسَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاسَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. Right? So it is by time, every given time, when something continues norm, people start altering it in things. Right? So by time, things, and that is how this issue arises. Right? So it's people who change that thing to, it's just like being in a house whereby there are rules and regulations. So far as the one who put down the rules and regulations is no more in that house or he has died, at that moment, the house will start changing the rules he has set for, right? So that's similarly what is happening to people. We leave the book of God and we start altering things and changing things and inventing things, which is not in the harmony of what God has commanded. It's not a matter of the date. I'll pinpoint the date and say when. So far as the Ummah started following Hadith books as the source of guidance, I will tell you that is when things change, because the Hadith commands them to break their fast at sunset. So that is the problem. Knowing who changed it, I can only tell you is the Hadith book. We have it in the Hadith books, because the mainstream Muslims are following Hadith books. They are not. Yeah, good. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm getting exhausted. This is where I have to bring the topic to an end in order to get some rest before I go for my salat. For those who couldn't get the chance to ask questions, and the questions I couldn't get to answer, I apologize. My WhatsApp number there, right? You can send me a message. I will answer it, inshallah. Chico, I would say it's a particular, like I said, it is coming from the hadith, right? And the Muslim world is all over the world. If I leader, who is leading Muslim world today? Where? Right? So that is just the notion of the source of guidance, where people take their guidance from. They take it from the hadith books. These books did search for them. So it's not a matter of a leader, it's a matter of the doctrine people are following. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where I drop the topic for today. Subhana rabbi izzati amma yasifun wa salamu ala al-mursalin alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. And let's see what happens next week. And for those contributing, I will say God bless you for a role in the contribution, and the thing starts this week, inshallah. So we haven't finished with the contribution yet. So I hope more people will donate so that we can actually get to feed as much as people we can, inshallah. I'll be putting the pictures on GoFundMe page, and you see who we go around to provide food for, inshallah. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. And this is where I'll drop the topic. So let me play Louis Farrakhan's video before I bring the topic to an end.
The Quran is called Al-Furqan, that which distinguishes between right and wrong, between truth and falsehood. If you had this book, you wouldn't be involved in same-sex marriage. If you had this book, you would know what is morally acceptable to God and what God rejects, and you would know the gray area which the righteous should not wander into. If you had this book, for this book is Al-Furqan. If you had this book, it would be Al-Dhikr, the reminder or a source of eminence and glory to mankind. See, if you had the book and understood it more, we would be raised from ignominy to eminence with just fair understanding. This book is called Al-Mawiza, the admonition, because this book admonishes us on the things that are right and the things that are proper and the things that represent good manners, courtesy. This book is called Al-Hukm, the judgment, because in this book God delivers his decision against this and that and for this and that. So when you know what is written in this book, and better yet have an understanding, you are armed with good judgment, ijtihad. It is al-hikmat, the wisdom. You can't be a fool and read this book and have even a fair understanding of it. Nobody will be able to make you a fool again with this book in your hands. Could it be that the enemy knows the value of this book, and that's why it's hidden from the eyes and ears of the common people of America?